From the campaign trail to Capitol Hill, buckle up because the Hill is rewinding the politics, events, and power players that have shaped our national headlines.
Today's show anchor Savannah Guthrie and her family are speaking out, sharing a message with their mother Nancy's potential kidnapper in an online video posted last night. Guthrie asking directly for proof of life.
We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen.
Here to break down the latest information we know on Nancy Guthrie's case is the Hill's breaking news associate editor, Sophia Vento. Sophia, thanks so much for joining us. You saw that clip from Savannah Guthrie asking for proof of life. What else did we learn in that video from the Guthries?
Yeah, for sure. I think that obviously the biggest thing is that plea for proof of life and just for information. I think the most obvious thing is just the urgency of this case and the urgency of this investigation. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 5 days now, and time is of the essence in cases like this. And I think the family underscoring her health, specifically some issues regarding the medication that we already known about. But again, just seeing and putting the faces here in front of you with the family and that plea really, really brings to the forefront why this is so urgent and why this investigation, why the investigation needs to proceed and why they're looking for tips of this nature.
There was a bit of confusion this morning as some reports came out that initially made it sound as if FBI Director Kash Patel was heading to Arizona to help this investigation, but now the Bureau has denied that. What's going on? Are our local authorities still leading this case?
Yeah, it just looked like some wires got crossed there. The FBI Director Kash Patel was going to be in Arizona for a pre-scheduled engagement. I do think it's important to note that although he won't be, there investigating on the scene, he is obviously overseeing the investigation as the FBI works alongside local law enforcement. He has been getting personal updates about the case as well. So although he won't be there directly, obviously the FBI is still involved in working alongside local law enforcement.
While Patel may not be directly involved, we heard from President Trump that he's sending his support to the Guthrie family and all available resources being put towards their mother's case. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, President Trump spoke with Savannah Guthrie Wednesday evening, where he expressed his support for the family and also, as you mentioned, said that they will be sending as many resources as possible to swiftly find where Nancy Guthrie is and return her to her family. Aside from that, President Trump is aware of the incident and continues to extend his sympathies.
The Pima County Sheriff's Department is expected to hold a news conference later today providing an update. What should we be listening for to see whether investigators are making any progress?
Well, first and foremost, there has been no suspect or person of interest identified publicly, so that would be the first thing I would keep an eye out for. Otherwise, local law enforcement and FBI did go back to Nancy Guthrie's home on Wednesday, where they further looked around the scene and investigated, so I'd be on the lookout for any updates on that. I would also, given the video posted on Wednesday evening by Savannah Guthrie, if there's been any additional tips or possible information that has surfaced as a result of that.
A heartbreaking case. We will be following it. Sophia Vento, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right now, we believe Nancy is still out there. I think you all know the blood on the porch. That was one we did. It came back to Nancy. That's what we know. But there's still more items that have been submitted. We just haven't got them back yet. But to be clear, we have nobody of interest or any suspects that you would consider a prime suspect. We're just not there. We're not there yet. But at about 5:32 p.m., these are approximate times. 5:32 p.m., Nancy travels to her local family's home for dinner and playing games with the family, just visiting. At 9:48 p.m., which is very consistent to what we were told by the family, that Nancy was dropped off at home, and we know that because we have a garage door open at approximately, I can't stress that enough, at approximately 9:48 p.m. At 9:50 p.m., that garage door closes. It is that time we assume that Nancy's home and probably going to bed. Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. At 2:12 a.m., software detects a person on a camera, but there's no video available. 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app shows that it was a disconnect from the phone. And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. The doorbell camera, it was removed, we know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house.
And we're going to start today by announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. And this will be the missing persons with the reward that will be going out. My next message is to those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation. We will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions. We have made one arrest related to an imposter ransom demand, and a complaint will be presented to a magistrate judge later today. To anyone that may be involved, do the right thing. This is an 84-year-old grandma. This is an 84-year-old grandma that needs vital medication for her well-being. You still have the time to do the right thing before this becomes a worse, much worse scenario for you.
Today marks the 6th day of searching for the mother of Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie, who has allegedly been abducted from her home outside of Tucson.
The 84-year-old Guthrie went missing on Sunday afternoon after she did not show up at church. Pima County, Arizona Sheriff Chris Nano said at a news conference Thursday that there are still no suspects. He added that blood found on the porch of Nancy Guthrie's home was confirmed to be hers, and that they are currently working with the FBI to check a number of incoming leads.
Authorities also noted that Guthrie's doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:47 a.m. Sunday, and that another camera on Guthrie's property detected motion at 2:12 a.m., but that no video was recorded. Then at 2:28 a.m., Guthrie's pacemaker got disconnected from her cell phone, which was later found at the house.
President Trump spoke with Savannah Guthrie by phone on Wednesday and later wrote on social media, "I spoke with Savannah and let her know that I am directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. We are deploying all resources to get her mother home safely. The prayers of our nation are with her and her family. God bless and protect Nancy."
Savannah Guthrie and her siblings are still urging their mother's abductors to get in touch with them. Here is Nancy Guthrie's son, Cameron, saying on social media on Thursday that they have still not heard anything. If there are kidnappers there, they've not heard anything from them directly. Let's listen to that.
This is Cameron Guthrie. I'm speaking for the Guthrie family. Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you. We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
This is such a really sad and scary story.
Absolutely.
They haven't found much, it seems, to point towards what actually happened here. Obviously, the blood at the house and the general state of her home suggested she was abducted. There was some kind of ransom note that I guess was delivered to TMZ, but they haven't confirmed whether or not it's real, and they haven't been able to actually make contact with the person who supposedly sent that. Now, in addition, there was a separate individual who posed as the abductor, but was not, and was arrested and charged accordingly. But this is, obviously, the longer these things go on, the less hope you have that there's going to be a positive resolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to reiterate what you said, it's just such a sad story and a kind of nightmarish story for Savannah Guthrie and her siblings. Such a succession of bizarre details from what we do know on this. On the point about notes and so on, there was additionally a TV station in Arizona that says it got contacted by someone, or there's some message sent to them, including details that only an abductor would know, which obviously does suggest that that one is credible. But just to have all this play out, so much uncertainty, I mean, it's understandably a huge national story. I suppose it's possible, if Nancy Guthrie has been abducted, that it's not related to Savannah Guthrie's prominence, but that seems, I'm not normally one who believes much in coincidences, at least at that level.
I agree. And based on the timing of the camera going out, and she had shortly returned to her home earlier that evening, it suggests to me that maybe someone could have been watching her and planning this for quite some time, which adds another element of sort of creep factor and disturbance. And I just really feel for the family. I cannot imagine how I would feel if this were happening to my parent.
No, and exactly. I mean, I think everyone who has been watching this story puts themselves in that position, and then you have the fact of it playing out in this massive and intense media spotlight. It must be close to unbearable. Just very briefly, I mean, Savannah Guthrie used to be more involved in political journalism. I have never met her, but friends of mine who know her, like even way before this, no one had any bad word to say about her. I think she's generally a very well-liked person, and I mean, I think everyone in the media and the broader country is just sympathetic to the situation.
I sure hope the deployment of those federal resources will help resolve this.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was a wonderful thing for Trump to do.
No, I agree. I have no caveats to that at all.
Next on Rising, Kamala Harris HQ is relaunching on social media, rebranding the organization towards the next generation's leaders. Stick around.
The final deadline from an alleged ransom note that demanded millions of dollars in cryptocurrency for the release of Nancy Guthrie, that deadline has now passed. It was set for 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. The search for the 84-year-old Guthrie is entering its 10th day. Police still have no suspect.
Now, the note received by KGUN, a news station in Tucson, reportedly demanded $6 million in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin account given by kidnappers showed zero balance and transactions. The supposed kidnappers also threatened Guthrie's life if payment was not made by the deadline. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department still haven't verified the authenticity of the ransom demand. A spokesperson for the Pima County Sheriff's Department said Monday, quote, "The investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance remains active and ongoing. We understand the significant public interest in this case. However, investigators need time and space to do their work. And if and when relevant information becomes available, it will be shared."
Meanwhile, hours before the alleged deadline on Monday, Savannah Guthrie took to social media urging anyone with information about her mother to come forward. Let's watch.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help.
Now, sources familiar with the matter informed Fox News that on Sunday, February 1st, Nancy Guthrie was expected at a friend's home to watch a New York-based church service via live stream and not attend an in-person church service, as reported earlier.
Nancy hasn't been seen since January 31st, when her son-in-law dropped her off at her Tucson home after having dinner with him and Nancy's daughter, Annie. So really no new information since we discussed this yesterday. This deadline for a ransom passed, and it appears it was not paid. That seems like a reasonable choice to make, to not pay it. The thinking is that they did not provide proof of life, which generally you would do in order to then actually get a ransom. I'd be very skeptical personally about paying out. Not that I've ever been in this situation or can imagine what people are going through, but I'd be skeptical of paying out a ransom anyway. This doesn't usually end well. I don't think we can come up with a lot of examples of someone paying a ransom and then getting their loved one back alive and everything goes back to normal. That's not a typical occurrence. Again, I've said this, none of this is typical because kidnappings by unknown persons for ransom or whatever are just not common in the U.S. At all. They can happen in other countries. Typically, there is someone close to the person involved, and it is, it's not what it appears to be. Now, this is weird. The police don't have any leads, apparently. Trump said he implied they knew something, but now they're saying they don't really know anything. I presume they've looked into people close to her, and if they're not seeing anything, then maybe it is a stranger. I really don't know. This is a baffling situation, but my gut tells me that it would not just be a kidnapping of Ransom. Now, her daughter's a famous person. She was well known, so it could be a stalker fan thing. There are so many possibilities it could be, but the Occam's razor is just that someone probably harmed her, and
I think day 10 into the investigation, knowing that day 1, the family was saying that Nancy Guthrie needed life-saving medication because she had some ailments.
Right.
You wonder what's happening, like what kind of medication. I mean, I have family members. We all do that.
Blood
deal with
on
medication,
the property
right?
found.
So
none of these are good signs.
Right. So we kind of would like updates to the public, and I really would hope that we're leaning towards the side of the president where he's saying he has more information than they're telling the American public, because to think that the FBI, local law enforcement, and all these different entities are over this one specific case and putting so much resources into it, and we're going 2 weeks in with not one person of interest, that's kind of disturbing. And not that it would be a fault of theirs if it really is just no clues, but this has to be the biggest mastermind we've seen in generations then. Right. And that's the thing.
I mean, it has only been 10 days, and in this era of mass surveillance,
it's kind of hard
extraordinarily likely someone will see something and speak up at some point, but we just have to wait for that.
Coming up, data from the DHS shows that the vast majority of those arrested by ICE were not charged with violent crimes. Stick around for that in my lens.
So I have some very basic information from a source, and it is that there is a person who has been detained in the Nancy Guthrie investigation that they are planning to question. They may have already started questioning. I am not being told that this person is being called a suspect or a person of interest, just that there is someone detained right now, and the location is somewhere south of Tucson, in Pima County, but south of Tucson. It may explain the activity that we saw earlier, Leland, when it comes to the SWAT trucks getting ready and leaving. And like I said, there was just a flurry of activity a couple of hours ago, and we do now have confirmed that there is someone detained. And I was told that questioning was going to begin sometime soon.
Okay, Brian, stay with us. We've got Tracy Walder, Chris Hinkle, both formerly of the FBI. Tracy, just putting this timeline together, because those SWAT team vehicles left within minutes of the video being put out. Is this a situation potentially where investigators had a suspect in mind or a person in mind and released the video to see what that person did?
It could have been a ruse, absolutely. I think there's no question. But I also think that video, if you take it in connection with Savannah Guthrie's video from the night before, really indicated to me that they did need the public's help in terms of finding a suspect. And because this individual was essentially, and rightly so, blasted all over the media throughout the U.S., hopefully someone close to this individual who knows this individual, who recognizes some of these features, came forward, and they could be questioning one of those individuals, or they could be questioning the person on the camera.
Look, and Chris, we got to be very careful in these situations, and we are all in the media, I think, should be at least resident and hesitant, knowing past situations where we've been through, where someone was put forth as a suspect or a person of interest, turned out not to be. I'm thinking about Elizabeth Smart's kidnapping. I'm thinking about the Atlanta Olympic Park bombers. What in these initial hours, what are going to be the questions to this person? As Brian said, they're being brought in for questioning.
Well, they're gonna want to confirm, corroborate, or just get some clarification on the information that led to them actually talking to this person. But I agree with you. People that engage in what I call confirmation bias, when they say this must be the person, so they end up looking at only the information that confirms the bias that they have toward that individual, that is just a detriment to any investigator.
Major developments have taken place in the last 24 hours in the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, which has now entered its day 11.
Arizona authorities detained a man during a traffic stop for questioning, but they ultimately released him from custody early Wednesday. News Nation is reporting that this man is a DoorDash driver. In an interview, the man said he had not heard about Nancy Guthrie, but hopes that she is found safe.
Law enforcement on Tuesday also released surveillance videos and photos of the person they're looking for in the investigation. You can see it on screen right now. That came directly from FBI Director Kash Patel, who posted it on X. He wrote, "Over the last 8 days, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department have been working closely with our private sector partners to continue to recover any images or video footage from Nancy Guthrie's home that might have been lost or corrupted or inaccessible due to a variety of factors, including the removal of recording devices. The video was recovered from residual data located in back-end systems. Working with our partners as of this morning, law enforcement has uncovered these previously inaccessible new images showing an armed individual appearing to have tampered with the camera at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning of her disappearance."
Now, Patel released additional footage of the individual wearing a ski mask, gloves, and a backpack.
The White House released a statement Tuesday night saying the president encourages any American across the country with any knowledge of this suspect to please call the FBI, who continue to assist state and local authorities. The prayers of the entire White House are with the Guthrie family. Yes, so they held some DoorDash driver, released him. That seems to be a dead end. Those photos and video that appeared on social media yesterday, you can see, we've all kind of tried to parse it. You can see, so he blocks the camera with his hand and then with some kind of flower, and then disables it, he or she, I guess. I saw some speculation about whether it would be a man or a woman.
Yeah.
It's very disturbing. Obviously, this is fourth, this, whatever happened was planned out,
right?
In some sense. Now they go from this and they say, okay, can we identify where these gloves are sold? Can we identify where the coat he's wearing, where was that sold? And hopefully they begin the process of narrowing it down, who it could possibly be, or someone could, I know it seems like, how could you possibly recognize that person? They're wearing a ski mask, but someone could say, hey, that looks like so-and-so. I mean, that's how that's how they've captured people in the past. So I'm glad it's the right decision, obviously, to share these images, despite how horrifying they are, and then hope someone knows something and something comes to light. I don't know. This is very, very disturbing, and what a horrifying thing for poor Nancy Guthrie to go through, to have that person show up on your doorstep in the middle of the night. Someone maybe unknown to her, maybe known to her. Who knows?
I was trying to understand, why, with the FBI involved, it would take this long to get footage like that. But then I dug more into it. I know, but also Google owns Nest. And you have to go through certain, you can't just take old information immediately. So I thought, and many times during this investigation, that perhaps the FBI and local law enforcement in Pima County were holding different information from the public as they narrowed in on a suspect and had it all locked in. And I hope that maybe the news and Harvey Levin, who's been all over this on TMZ, were just not giving all the information because they were privy to more and they were about to catch somebody. But as days pass, I'm really oh wow, people across the board might be scrambling here to try to figure out what happened. And so there's just so many different
Right. It sounds like it took them a little bit a time to get that video.
Well, the FBI said they got it the day they posted it. So that means that it took at least 8 days, so that's kind of the scary part.
And you're right. It might be the case that they might have had it, and this was not the case. But you could conceivably imagine a circumstance where they have it but don't want to release it. Mm-hmm. And then if there are no leads, they decide, well, we release it and see what the people have to say.
So everyone's going to stay on top of this, and hopefully we hear some good news soon.
For sure.
Next on Rising, I'll be delving into the fact that Republicans are calling for an investigation now into Bad Bunny's halftime show on Sunday. Please stick around.